Hey everyone, good to see you again for my next instalment of a weekly update where I share what's going on at D&T, what we're observing in the wider marketplace, and also share with you some tips along the way. Now, some of you that follow my personal social media accounts will know that I attended the House of Commons on Tuesday, and in that meeting, I had the opportunity of meeting Esther McVeigh, who's a fairly high-profile MP, and she's responsible for heading up both the blue-collar Tories group, so representing those who are running businesses and grafting away. But she's also the, I believe it's the vice chairman, but correct me if I'm wrong, for the Enterprise Forum. So I met with her. I also met with Paul Scully, who's the Small Business Minister. And in my meeting, I had the opportunity to share my concerns and my thoughts about what's going on. And I was very open with them that at the moment, whilst the world is coming to terms with everything, it's a very bumpy ride for everybody. And the one thing that I believe that government could do to really reassure businesses, to reassure franchises, and help make sure that the flow of capital continues is to renew the recovery loan scheme, or look at replacing it perhaps with going back to the EFG or a new scheme altogether. So that's been heard loud and clear, and I've been assured that it will be put forwards. Watch this space. I'm returning to House of Commons on the 8th of June, and I'll share with you in my updates if there's anything else that I can. So enough about that. What I wanted to do today was to share with you a tip that I shared with my team. And it's around emails. And I was reminded of this last week on my trip to Glasgow, because what I find is that when I take a train journey, I can attend to focused work rather than the current distractions that we all have when we're sat at our computers trying to do something. We have the distractions of emails, we have social media notifications, we might have our WhatsApps connected to our computer. And it's very hard to focus on what it is you need to do. So one of my productivity tips that I share in my book, Boss It, is the train ride to nowhere, booking a train ticket, getting stuff done, and not taking your phone with you. But actually, I had a purpose for this trip. But the subject that I want to focus on today is actually around email management, because I know that for myself, certainly, that GDPR hasn't really done much to reduce the volume of email that I get. And I wanted to share with you the way that I deal with email, the way that I've shared with my colleagues at D&T as well. And I think you might find it of use. So many of you would have heard of batching. So taking out half an hour of your day or an hour of your day or 15 minutes, whatever time limit you need, to have focused time on your email and then to switch off notifications afterwards. Now, that's great. However, if you're anything like me, you can be a bit obsessive over what's coming in and sneaking away little checks here and there, and it can be very distracting. So you need an element of discipline. But here's the other parts of the jigsaw that not everybody tells you. On your email signature, make sure that you tell everybody that you are checking your emails in batches. And if there's something truly urgent, give them another way to contact you, maybe your office phone number or your mobile phone number. And what this does is it allows the sender to self-select whether their message is urgent or not. Because the key problem with emails in today's day and age is that we've kind of muddied the water between instant messaging and long form letters that can be read at leisure, maybe a couple of days later. There's no distinction from the sender's side other than the urgent flag, and the urgent flag can appear quite aggressive if it's not truly urgent. So by having that acknowledgement that you're batching and an alternative method of contact if it's urgent, you allow the sender to self-select. Secondly, make sure that you have this in your auto response as well. So you're making people aware both on messages you send out, but also messages they send to you. So that allows the sender to decide whether it's urgent and whether they need to call you. Now, you will batch up, sort of check it every day or whatever your frequency is. A great way of doing this is on the train, switch off Wi-Fi, and you can hammer through them. The beauty of that is you don't get distracted by the responses coming back in, because other people don't necessarily use these tricks. So by switching off your connection before you deal with your emails, you'll find they will all go at the same time when you switch it back on. And it means that you don't get distracted by people trying to start an instant messaging style conversation from the email. And then finally, when it comes to the inbox and what you do during the batched process, I tend to follow the 4Ds. Now, the 4Ds, I learned about this online. I've been told that there is a name for it. I don't know. If I did know the original creator of this concept, then I would give them credit. It's certainly not me. But for 4Ds, do it. If it's going to take you less than 2 minutes, so if it's a simple answer, make sure that you reply in your first email. Delegate. If there's somebody else who's better served to deal with that email, send it on to them. Make sure that you reply to the original sender to let them know it's been delegated and to set expectations on how it will be dealt with. Delay. If it's something that needs more than a couple of minutes to deal with, and it's not something that you've got time to deal with in your batch process, which you probably won't, then make a diary appointment for yourself to deal with it. Let the person who sent you the email know that you are going to be dealing with it on a certain date, and check that they're okay with that turnaround. So you make sure that there is an immediate response before dealing with it. And then finally, probably the most important, delete. We all get junk email. As I said, GDPR hasn't worked anywhere near as well as any of us hoped in getting rid of all of our spam. So feel free to delete with abandon. Don't get caught up in emailing them saying, how did you add me to your list or whatever? What you'll find is in your email tool, whether it's Outlook or Gmail or any other, there's a block button, and just block it. You don't need it, and you don't need to go through the effort of unsubscribing and sharing your reasons why. Just block it and move on. So hopefully you find that of some benefit. If your inbox is anything like mine and most other people that I speak to, you may even one day hit inbox zero. Now, have an amazing weekend. Next week, I'm not quite sure what date the team are going to share this. So because of a bank holiday, I will be recording it on Friday because I'm actually out of the country at a business event in New York. So it might be shared on Friday, but more than likely it will be shared at the start of the week after. But in the meantime, have a cracking weekend. If you are celebrating the Jubilee, have a fantastic time if I don't get to speak to you next Friday. And I look forward to sharing my next tips in the next video.